Good day, folks. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Trevor and I am your one-armed bandit in the bush. Sitting in Virgin River Canyon at the moment. Glorious campsite. I'm headed to St. George, where tomorrow morning I'm getting the RAS fitted to my suspension, or radioactive suspension. That's going to address this bowing that I've got in the leaf springs. Certainly looking forward to that. So I'll give a little bit more of an update on that. However, as you know, from the last episode, I had both the brackets go on my rooftop tent. And then, of course, I've picked up these problems with the solar charging, in particular, the charging of my large Energy Power Pro Source battery, the 1200 watt generator. So the panel on that was giving me a really rough time, and I've explained how I've been challenged on this trip to keep enough power available. Well, so I think I've been swayed, and what I've done is I've gone ahead and I've had a SIGS panel, which is a flexible solar panel connected to the top of my rooftop tent. So SIGS basically stands for copper, indium, gallium and selenide. So those are the compounds from which these panels are constructed. You will see I got some footage I'm going to show you, both some close-ups as well as some footage I took from the drone. This thing absolutely is a wafer thin and has practically no effect whatsoever on drag. So that's the good part about that. The other part is that it's highly flexible, and in fact that it comes actually rolled up. So, you know, you can fit this baby on a round surface if need be, and it will work just perfectly well. Extremely strong. What swayed me is I watched a number of videos in terms of this type of panel, because it is new, so it's a relatively new technology, but I think absolutely 100% disruptive, and the new standard that you would want, certainly if you do what we do. So why is that the case? So I watched a really good demo by Tech, I believe the channel's name is. And on there, he takes one of these SIGS panels, as they're known for, CIGS, SIGS, and he goes out into a remote location, puts 5 holes in it with the 45. He then drives over it with the ATV. He turns it upside down, he drags it on the gravel, flicks it over, he stomps all over it with his boots, plugs it in. And I don't know, there was maybe about a 10% or so degradation insofar as what he was managing to still extract from the panel. Still worked. So on top of the rooftop tent, it's not going to be exposed to the same kind of things unless somebody comes flying overhead and gets nasty on my panel. That type of thing won't happen. However, it'll be extremely robust because it will pick up scratches from branches, etc. when I'm out overlanding. The other thing is that this thing works great in the shade. It has some 40 odd, could be 42, could be 47, I don't remember the exact number, diodes in it, which means that it practically has no single point of failure. Unlike a conventional solar panel, just damage one cell, and there you go, baby. Not going to work that great. In fact, that's what I suspect has happened to my other large 200 watt solar generator panel. So this got connected. I only got the vehicle back yesterday morning, so it was my first trip with it, or my first drive really with it up on the roof. And I can tell you, yesterday afternoon, my vehicle was parked pointing in a westerly direction, so it was kind of pointing in the right place for the panel to be totally effective. However, I can tell you that I was off by, I would guess, 20-30 degrees of due west, so the sunlight was a little more than that off, given the time of the year that it's at. And I do have my roof racks mounted on top of the tent, so those are 2 aluminum bars that go over the tent, one of which crosses over this panel. And conventional panel, that would lead to a big problem. Well, 150 watts. Yesterday afternoon, I hit a peak of 143 watts out of it. It was somewhat overcast, so I wasn't getting pure continuous sunlight on it. I'm keen to see what it does this afternoon, but I can tell you that pointing west, sun rising east, absolutely complete shadow. When I got out of the tent this morning, the sun had barely popped over the mountains. I was already getting 9 watts, then to 11 watts, and sat in the mid-teens. As the sun has climbed and reached overhead now, it's in the high 90s, and as the sun continues to drop, it'll go up. So, you know, if the tent was down, I'd be getting a full charge. The tent up, I'm going to get a full charge, and then late afternoon's more than enough to get that big charge. So it's charging drone batteries, it's running the refrigerator deep freeze, it's charging my iPad Pro. When I'm finished with this, I'll put my phone back on charge, so it'll be charging that, and it's charging my torch that doubles up as a little bit of a battery pack that has a USB connected to it, so I can even use that to run the LED lighting in the tent upstairs, and it'll be sufficiently, when it's fully charged, to do that for 2 nights. So no need for me to cart a big battery up there. I just take the torch up and it runs off that. So whilst this is not a product review of the solar generator, the solar panel should I say, I'm going to show you a couple close-up of that. And then of course the other thing was with the failure of the brackets. Those got fabricated by a contact of James from Las Vegas Overlanding company, that fitted both the panel and fixed the tent with these brackets for me. So they've come out absolutely spot on. They're probably at least 2 times the gauge thickness than the front runner brackets were that I had up there. So these things are very, very, very thick, durable, robust looking brackets. So extremely happy how that worked out. James really worked very hard, pushed as hard as he could to get this done for me in time before I had to leave Vegas. So again, I would highly recommend Las Vegas Overlanding Company. If you want absolutely great service, James and his wife Joanna are absolutely champion. I highly recommend that. As well as the place I'm going to tomorrow, which is Red Desert Off-Road in St. George. And there Dennis and his crew are equally wonderful. And then the third bunch are obviously back in Nashville, and that's Linux of Nashville, Linux of Murfreesboro in Nashville. So, yeah, very, very happy. Just got this sagging in the suspension to sort out. Particularly the springs are now not strong enough to carry all this extra load. So I look forward to giving you an update on that and how that works, and just sharing you a little bit more on that. And then of course we're going to really get out and hit it deep. So without any further ado, why don't we take a closer look at this panel and see just how thin this baby is, and I'll show you as well the brackets that have been installed on the vehicle, which I think I really should have done right from the get-go. I did suspect that what was up there was not going to be strong enough once we changed the tents, because you know, we had gone up from like 165 pounds to about 210 pounds. And that's a big difference. So let's take a look. What do you say? So this is a close-up side view. There you can see just how slim it is. I mean, it's just a few millimeters. It has absolutely zero effect from a drag point of view. So this is really an excellent win all around. You can leave your racks up because this thing works perfectly fine in the shade. You probably lose about 5%. I found I was losing, you know, very low single digits with that rack on, and the shade that it was casting across the panel. So in this footage of the panel, which I took with the drone, you'll be able to observe just how slim this profile is. So it comes rolled up. It can stick onto a flat surface. You can mount it because it does have eyes upon which you can attach it to hooks. In this application, mine is just stuck against the flat surface of the rooftop tent. Subsequently, what I've done is I have removed the brackets and the bottom rack of that roof rack. As I'm currently not carrying anything on top of the tent, there's no real purpose for me to have it up there. So for now, I've taken it off. The result has been that I have seen approximately a 10 to about a 15 watt difference in the output, and of course, depending on the time of the day. Here again, this side view gives you a really good indication. So this thing was 80 odd inches long. The tent is 90 inches long, so that gives you an idea of just how big it is. But it's a 150 watt panel. I can tell you that subsequently, from having removed the bottom rack, that I now get peaks of between about 126, 27, let's say high 128s to high 130s, which is really a phenomenal performance given both the time of the year and, of course, the fact that the vehicle is not going to be perfectly optimized for the sun and its angle. So here's a look at the mounting brackets that I replaced. So the front runner ones are gone. Yeah, we have nice beefy brackets on, and I'll tell you something, these things are at least double the gauge. So I don't think this tent is going to be shaking itself loose, and I certainly hope that I'm not going to have any bracket problems, because that means I've done something that I really shouldn't have done if I now manage to damage these brackets as well. So over this period, I was camped at some designated campsites on BLM land. This is just a view of the Fish River as it winds its way through this canyon. You will see these designated sites are reasonably close to a motorway, but given that there was a hill that was blocking most of it, and that was off to the northern side of where I was camped, the traffic that you see driving here had absolutely very little to hardly any sound effects on me. At least the noise level was very low. I guess the wind was blowing in the correct direction, so I wasn't getting much noise at all from this motorway whatsoever. This is a vast canyon. It's a great site if you are overnighting and you're looking for somewhere easily accessible, that has clean facilities, where the sites are well laid out and designated. Obviously, it's asphalted. The sites are marked separately. There's plenty of fire rings, so no problem whatsoever. And I certainly enjoyed the overnight stays that I had at this location. It's not my preference, and typically I wouldn't camp at a location like this. But I would recommend this one, certainly if you're looking for a quick stop and go and an overnighter. So this is the view then of the Fish River winding through this canyon. So these images will give you a good view of just how badly these leaf springs are bowing. And this is because there's too much weight on the vehicle. I mean, as it is, these are beefed up springs that have replaced the stock ones. And I then went for the RAS solution. However, didn't quite pan out. But this image will show you exactly what this road active suspension looks like. And yeah, you can see with it fitted just how it addressed the bowing of those leaf springs. However, that wasn't the end of the story. Because these are military cup style springs, you'll see that second leaf on there is designed to support the vehicle should the first leaf break. However, that would snap up and knock the RAS off its mounting point, and then you've got problems you don't want to deal with. So what I ended up doing was installing an airbag or airbags. This has addressed the issue. I kept it simple with a manually adjustable solution that simply has a valve that is connected to the rear bumper, and that's where I will adjust it. But as you can see, the bowing has been taken care of. It's given me more clearance and improved my departure angle. So at the end of the day, I'm happy. All right, folks. So slightly behind schedule, roughly about a day or so compared to where I thought I was going to be. But things didn't quite work out as I expected with the road active suspension. And I'll get into that a little bit more deeper. But right now, I'm right on the edge of the gravel road. So it's time to air down
And then you and me, we gotta hit out yonder that way, because there's canyons, there's mountains, there's all kinds of things to go and explore out there. So you hang tight. I'm dropping tire pressure, and then boom, we off to the desert, to the dunes. No, I don't know that we're gonna find dunes, but we're gonna get out there and we're gonna go and explore. So wait, yeah, I'll be back soon. All right, so we're about just over 10 miles plus now into this trail. Actually, it's really approaching closer to 20, should I say. I've approached a really rocky section, and with the changes that have been made, I think I need to air down even more, because to be quite honest, it's a little bit bumpy. Now I'm going up a steep incline, which I've approached. It's very rocky in front of me. So I dropped to about 50%. I'm going to take it down now, maybe about another 10% or so, and we'll see how it goes. All right, so I just pulled off the side of the trail. I'm about to come off the mountainside. It's going to take a switchback and take me back down into the valleys while I continue looking for a campsite. So I thought I'd just stop here, put old Birdman, the drone, up in the sky, have a little bit of a look around so that we can share. What does this place look like? I'm a bit reluctant, honest, to put the drone up now while I'm driving, because it's one of these kind of things, and I don't want to lose that drone again. So, hang ball, we're looking for campsite now, and then our maybe get the drone up again, because to be quite honest, it is absolutely stunningly gorgeous out here, and I'd like to spend more time just getting some better views of the vistas of the entire area if I can. So hopefully I find a tall lookout point, and then I can get some, or at least a lookout point at high elevation, rather than a tall lookout point. Okay, so hang ball. So at this point, yeah, we would be swinging a right and dropping down into the canyon. But I can tell you, from up at this elevated position, the views were just absolutely phenomenal. What has not ceased to amaze me is how this barren landscape can dish up such phenomenal beauty. It's just incredible to be out there in the warm embrace of Mother Nature. Oh yeah, that's the one that I really like. You'll see now, as the drone gets up higher and we stop circling the vehicle, you will see just what I mean. And it just continues. It doesn't matter, mile after mile after mile. This is the kind of reward that you get once you come out here and just spend a little bit of time exploring. So I hope you enjoy this little section as it plays out. So having dropped down into the canyon, it was time to traverse the canyon floor, joining up here on another trail. There's a multitude of trails out here to go and explore. So outside of St. George, I would strongly recommend that if you ever are in the St. George area, give yourself a good few days, because there are many trails within probably 2 miles, no more than that, of the town. You're going to be on a trailhead, hitting one or the other trail they have out here. So St. George is a must-do and well worth spending a fair amount of time exploring. So enjoy the vistas from the truck as we cruise across this canyon floor, and then it's back up again into the mountains as we head our way back to try and find a campsite. As down here, there was nowhere here to camp. As great as it would have been, this is just trail land. So don't come out here and expect that you're going to camp any place where you can find a decent campsite. Everything was just off the trail where there were campsites. And, you know, that's not really what I want to do when I'm out on trails. I like to get back off the trail on a spur and find a site that is nice and remote, away from anything, so that I can just spend time there by myself and enjoy what nature has to offer. So here we go, view from the vehicle. All right, so we've just approached a very steep decline. Looks like switchbacks, but it's going straight down into the canyon. So I thought I would just stop here, get the drone up, have a cursory peek to see what's in front of me so I don't get caught out by surprise. Looks quite interesting. So we've had a look, and now we're ready to go. So we're still looking for a campsite. The day's wearing on, and I'm nowhere near it. Let's keep going. So this turned out to be a lot more mundane than what I thought it would be. At first glance, it looked like it was going to drop steep, and I couldn't really see where the switchbacks lay. But you can see this is pretty straightforward. I mean, you could have ridden down here on the back of a donkey without any problem, yet alone in a sturdy old bush pig like Pumbaa. I mean, she's made for this kind of stuff. So it is a doddle in the park, but, you know, worthy of a little look, just in case, because you can see that that switchback was really close to the edge of the cliff, and I couldn't quite work out exactly what was going on. Yeah, I guess I could have been, you know, a little more energetic and taken a walk down and had a look. But, you know, putting the drone up, why not? Then you can have a look and see exactly which way you want to go. So back straight behind there is where the town of St. George lies, way back in that canyon. So here we go. Enjoy this little vista. Look around of the trail as it drops back down into yet another canyon. More canyon driving before it was back up into the mountains again. And then I had to head to go look for a campsite because, yes, the day was wearing, you know, rather long. The shadows were starting to build. I was not yet in a position, so I returned to a place pretty close to where I'd camped the night before, which was probably about 10 miles outside of the town of St. George. Having found camp, I was treated to a great sunset, and then it was time for a little bit of stargazing before I tucked myself into bed to be ready to move on to the next adventure. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button, because from here we're going to Monument Valley, then on to Valley of the Gods. You don't want to miss out. Thank you for joining me. See you on the next one.